Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we are welcoming Pernitha Tinsley to our podcast. She is a writer and a producer of multiple films, including Professor Mack, Abusive Love, For the Love of Christmas, among others. She also recently received a recommend on her screenplay, Judas, and she's here today to talk to us about how she got into the business and her current projects. So welcome, Pernitha.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I know before we get into your current projects, and thank you for joining us. I know you're out of town and you're at a hotel, and I appreciate your time. So before we get into your current project,
Thank
I
you.
know my audience is really going to want to know how you got started in the business and how you ended up with two films in particular that I've seen them already, but I don't know if our audience has yet. But like, let's take the For Love of Christmas. Tell us about that project and how you got started.
I knew nothing about screenwriting at all. And I befriended a lot of producers and screenwriters on Facebook. I felt like that would be the only way for me to learn how to write scripts. So in 2014, I started befriending a lot of producers, a lot of screenwriters, and I reached out to a lot of the screenwriters and asked them if they could teach me how to write a script. And needless to say, all of them turned me away.
Oh,
And many of them wouldn't even tell me how to get started. So a producer from Chicago named Christopher Nolan, he actually flew me out to Chicago to teach me how to write a script. And it only took me 5 minutes to learn, but I was able to get the experience of being around a producer for the whole weekend. So after I left there, he told me that he would like for me to write a Christmas script, basically any holiday script, but I chose Christmas. And I know most people need a outline and they need to break down character description and backgrounds for the characters, but in my writing, I never do a character description. I never do a background. I actually just pick up my pen and start writing. So that's what I did for The Love of Christmas. I just started writing the script and the whole story came to me while I was writing it. And I had actually finished the script in 7 days. And
wow.
I turned the script over to the producer, and he read it and he loved it instantly. He didn't give me any corrections that I needed to be that needed to be made, because when he taught me how to write the scripts, he told me, okay, we are indie producers, so we would only be using maybe two main characters and maybe two locations, and then we would have three secondary characters, not even extras, but like secondary characters. So once he told me the length that a script can be for indie producers and the number of locations and the number of characters, I put my pen to paper and I just started writing. And I completed the script in 7 days. He turned the script over to the actors that he had in mind, which is Nori Victoria, and she was a producer on the O.J. Simpson series, and she's just doing a lot of projects right now. And then we have Jasmine Lewis, and if any of you have watched the movie series Barbershop with Ice Cube, Jasmine Lewis is Ice Cube's wife in the series.
Oh,
Then we have Trey Ireland. And if you know Brandy, the singer Brandy, Trey Ireland played in her hit sitcom that she had in the past, and he's just been in a number of films. Everyone that was in For the Love of Christmas, Brad James, he's now married to Keisha Knight Pullman, which is Rudy from the Huxtables. We really had some very good actors in that film.
mhm.
And I really appreciate them. And, they immediately loved the script. They fell in love with the script. And the movie started production, I believe, in 2016, and I believe it aired on BET Her and on demand starting in December 2018. And it airs every
Right.
year during Thanksgiving and during Christmas on demand and on BET.
Yeah, and that's a bonus for doing a Christmas type of movie is you have that repeat business as a writer. Now, I understand you're also were a producer on that film. Tell us a little bit about being a producer.
Well, anytime you write a script for indie producers, well, most of them will also allow you to participate in the production of the film. I actually did it from a distance. So I'm in Los Angeles, California, and the movie was shot in Chicago. So the producer consulted with me about a lot of different aspects of the movie while they were shooting it. I couldn't get away from work from my 9 to 5. So I had to do that from a distance. And that is also how I did the other movies as well.
Okay.
Christopher Nolan is from Inferno Movie Productions. It's his own business. And he made me the head writer after I had completed For the Love of Christmas. He loved it so much that he made me the head writer for his movie production. So any film that was written that he wrote, he sent it to me and I would edit it, which made me a co-writer for the film. And then they would produce it in Chicago.
Okay. So the first one really led into that second project then. So just rolled right into the second project, which I hear that quite a lot in the business. When you get that one script going, it just rolls into the second one. So tell me, I'd like to know where do you start with your writing? Do you start with a theme, a character, a conflict, or is it just kind of a little bit of everything? Or do you go by what the producer just told you? Two characters, two locations. What is your primary starting point?
Okay, I already know I have to do the location thing. So when I start writing, location is in my head and the number of characters is in my head. So I've studied a lot about screenwriting and I have the Screenwriter's Bible. And when I'm writing a script, I keep everything that I learned from the Screenwriter's Bible in mind. So I know that the opening scene needs to show all of the main characters, the protagonist and the antagonist. I know in the opening scene, I'm going to show what the main problem is and what the protagonist needs to solve. In order to get to that level, you have to read a lot of scripts. So I read a lot of scripts on the theme that I was writing on. So let's take if I'm doing a thriller or a horror movie, I watched Poltergeist. I watched Stigmata. That's a very old film, but if you really watch that film, it's very educational. And so I watched a lot of Christmas scripts. I'm sorry, I watched a lot of Christmas movies and I read a lot of Christmas scripts. And I already know what the structure has to be because I spent a lot of time studying. But it's always good to refer back to the Screenwriter's Bible. So every time I start a script, I go to the Screenwriter's Bible and I have it next to me. And the John Wick, I also have that script next to me as well when I start a new script. So there's a lot of things in mind. The Screenwriter's Bible, what the producer is looking for, what is he expecting of me, and I just keep that in mind when I'm writing a script.
Right. And you said yourself, knowing what that producer wants ahead of time prevents you from having a lot of rewrites and getting into that what we call development hell phase, which I think is a brilliant way to do it, to really focus and learn. Or in your case, the producer tells you directly. But I think if you study also the producers and how they do films and what they expect, what the audience expects, it really helps eliminate a lot of the development problems that we see
Right.
today. Okay, so before we get into Judas, because we love that project, and I want to talk about it, and that's your current one. Do you have any advice for the aspiring screenwriter out there, for those who have been struggling for a while, what would you tell them to do? Like if you were starting over again today, what would you do?
Okay, I would first say study a lot of scripts in the genre that you plan to write in. That is very important. I downloaded a lot of scripts and I've read the Screenwriter's Bible from beginning to end so many times. You can never get enough of that book. That book tells you everything you need to know about screenwriting from A to Z. If you focus on that book alone, it will tell you everything that you need to know. And Barb, I must also say, that's why I can't wait to talk about Judas. The notes that you gave me on Judas, I now use that for every single script that I write. And my writing partner, I also let him use the notes because he covers a certain area of Judas as far as my writing partner is just exceptional. So we have different parts of Judas that we work on, and we've been going back and forth through text messages here recently on the rewrite. But I can't really give the audience advice without mentioning the notes that you gave me because the notes are just exceptional. And what I did was I took off the responses that you gave me about Judas, and I just focused on those questions. Did
Wow.
she cover this? Did she cover that? And then I'm able to use that.
Yeah, that's the checklist we do at Extreme Screenwriting. And now,
Right.
some of you, if you've had coverage out there before at other places, they'll give you a paragraph, a description of what's wrong, and they don't, pinpoint a page. But that checklist I developed from like 25 plus years in this business, directly from what producers we were hearing them say, because we work with over 60 production companies. I would hear them say this or that, and I would just add stuff to the checklist, like, did they hit the arc point? Did they do this or that? And that's how I developed that. And it has really stayed true over the years to what they're looking for. And so I get what you're saying, like remove the other notes and use it again. That's right. That checklist is invaluable. And thank you for your comment on it. So Pernitha, tell me about Judas. This is your current project. It's a very exciting project. You went through a couple drafts and you're now at a recommend and you're still revising. That is fantastic. And that is how our pro writers do it. They're never satisfied. They want that perfection. So tell me about this project, inspiration behind it, what's it about, and where are you at with it now?
Okay, with Judas, Judas was birthed by wolves, and he's a human baby birthed by wolves and born to destroy the child with the blood of Christ. And both Judas and the child with the blood of Christ are born on the same day. So they are born on the 6th day of the 6th month at 6 in the morning. And that represents the devil's sign. And I don't know where I came up with the idea for Judas, but I know that I wanted it to be a horror movie. And I'm going to talk about you, Barb, again, because that checklist. Okay, before I turned the script over to you, I had entered contest and I lost. Once I turned the script over to you and you did your extreme screenwriting, Judas placed second in the 2020 Jesus, I can't even remember the name
It was
of the
2022.
horror
Yeah.
screenwriting contest. 2020, I will have to look at it. I'm very sorry, but Judas placed second in that, and so they turned it into a short film that's now featured on YouTube, and it's called, if they go on YouTube and look at Judas by Pernitha Tinsley, they can see the short film that was created. Oh, it's called 13 Horror Screenwriting Contest. And I came in second place in 2020. Now, if it wasn't for your extreme screenwriting, that would have never happened. And I was at Starbucks and I met Ben Ripley, who wrote one of the movie Species. I believe it was Species 3. And he read Judas. And when I say he did not find a single mistake as a result of your extreme screenwriting, I'm having chills talking about it. He did not find one
Thank you.
single mistake, but what he did tell me was that he's read it already. And he told me that he's already heard everything that I wrote in this script. He could not find any type of mistakes, thanks to you, but he read it already. So he told me to focus on Judas being in the forest. And this is where the rewrite comes in. He told me that I could have built a whole movie around Judas staying inside the forest. He told me to reduce the number of characters in the film. And when you did the extreme screenwriting, that's about the same thing that you told me, that
That's
I
right.
had many characters in this film, and I didn't listen to you. I
I
took out
know
some, I
that
didn't take out all,
she
and
was a
that
little
is
mad
what
at
you
me.
told me. I had too many characters.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you did. It was
So
too much. Yeah.
when he told me that you were the first person who came to mind,
Right.
like I should have listened to Barb, and I thought I could get around it. So yes, in the new script, I'm building it around him staying in the forest, and I've removed characters. Everybody else is going to be like a extra character. So I'm just going to have Judas and the child with the blood of Christ mainly. And he also said he didn't know who exactly the protagonist was, Judas or the priest, which is what you told me.
Yeah.
Me trying again to get around that.
Right.
So I'm listening. I'm
Yeah.
very much listening. I don't want to give too many details, but
Sure.
I will say that it's a rewrite. I'm focusing on Judas remaining in the forest, on removing the characters, just like you told me and just like Ben told me. And I'm really focusing on showing who is the protagonist and who is the antagonist. And I look forward to turning it back over to you once I'm finished.
I'm looking forward to reading it again. So I'd like to ask you, do we have your permission? I'll go on YouTube and I will add that your video you talked about to the end of this video with your permission. Do we have your permission to do
Oh,
that?
that would be great. Yes, yes,
Okay.
please do.
So everyone, please stay tuned to the end of this. I'm going
Okay, let
to
me
add the
ask
video.
something else.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Can I ask something else?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I won, they also turned Judas into a book that
Oh,
can be
oh,
purchased
wow.
on Amazon.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna put
So
that
if
up too.
you Google Judas, I'm sorry, if you go on Amazon and search Judas by Pernitha Tinsley, the book is going to come up. It's actually a screenwriting book of Judas.
Oh, okay. Now that's interesting because
Right.
I've been talking to everybody about building their audiences and doing this stuff and combining scripts and books. And so you got to check this out. I'm going to put that up too. And I'm going to put the
Mhm.
link for all of you out there viewing. I'm going to put the link down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be down below in the description. Or if you're getting this on our newsletter, I'll put it down below the video. I'll put all those links. But I'm going to put the YouTube video right here in this video. So we're down to our last few minutes of the
Okay.
video. So, is there anything else you'd like to say out there to our producers, our writers, everybody, just about everybody watches these videos? These in particular are going to be sent out to our producers.
Okay, I would say to focus very much on scripts and movies of the same genre that you would like to write on. I would suggest doing an outline and doing a character description and things of that nature. Although I did not have to do it, you can't expect all writers to be able to perform in the same manner. I wrote my first book when I was in 6th grade, and I've self-published 5 books since then. So I would say that this is just a gift that I have. So you can't expect your experience to be like my experience. I've written more than 14 scripts. In 2014, I actually wrote 14 scripts in less than 2 months, which I still have most of them. I've sold some as well. So I would say focus on your craft, and you have to be able to know how to put time to the side to be able to focus on your writing. I go to work, I come home, I eat, I get straight to the writing. And I
Straight to the
treat
writing.
it like a job. If it's something that you really want, you have to treat it like a job.
You absolutely do. Okay, so we're down to about a minute and a half left. So I thank you for being with us
Okay.
today. You have just a
Thank you very much for
spectacular,
having me, and I appreciate you.
and I can't wait to read the next version of Judas. And all of you, get out there and watch that. Take
Oh, it's
Pernitha's
going to be good.
advice.
Trust
She
me.
knows her stuff. She's got multiple movies under her belt, and she is someone who is the perfect mentor out there for all of you. That's how you do it in life. Find somebody who's doing what you want to do and take a look at how they did it. And she's told you today how she did it. And
Exactly.
thank you very much for being here. I appreciate your time. I know you're busy there, you're out of town and stuff, but I
Thank you for having me.
really appreciate it. And you take care, and we'll talk to you next time.